Kim Hairrell with the Crye-Leike REO Division. We are a division that specializes in selling foreclosed homes, listing and selling foreclosed homes. Today I'm going to talk to you about being an owner of buying a foreclosed property or an investor buying a foreclosed property, and what some of the challenges you might find while you're doing that. So we represent the banks, the government entities like VA and HUD, and all these entities like to sell their properties as is. So as buyers, that makes it challenging for you to get a loan, to inspect the properties, things like that, because they don't even sometimes, in many cases, want to turn utilities on. So what the first thing you probably would need to do is to figure out how you're going to purchase the property. If you're going to pay cash, then you would just get a proof of fund from your lender and have that ready to make your offer. If you're going to get a loan and be a buyer owner and be your primary residence, then you will have to make sure that the lender understands that you're buying a foreclosed property and that the repairs would not be done by the seller, and you would need to escrow those to be completed after closing. So that's where the challenge rubs in, because a lot of people think, well, I'm going to buy a foreclosed home because I want to get a good deal and it's cheaper than a regular house and I can get more house for the money, but that's really not true. The bad part about that is there's usually challenges with foreclosed homes. Somebody's left them for a reason. You know, our main rule of thumb in our department, in our mantra that we use, is not to sell a foreclosed home to somebody that doesn't have any money, because let's just say the roof leaks real bad, or the stove doesn't work, or the furnace doesn't work, and if you are buying the property with the minimal amount of money and just trying to get in the house, then when something like that, when you discover there's a big problem like that, then you don't have the money to fix it either, and then it turns into a foreclosure again because the buyer will inevitably walk away from it. So we tell everybody to talk to their lenders to make sure that they're working a loan product that allows for lender repairs to be completed after closing. They can wrap those in the loan product, or if you're a buyer that maybe has a little bit of money that they can spend to fix up the property, then they can close the loan and have a little holdback escrow to complete the repairs after closing. So that's kind of the challenge with the lending part of it. Making offers on foreclosed homes, we typically see multiple offers on foreclosed homes just because they are aggressively priced, and for that reason, and we are in such a tight market right now that there's not that many listings. Like, I've listed one this week and we got 8 offers yesterday on it, and they run the gamut from owner occupants to investors to cash offers to rehab offers to FHA offers, where the buyer thinks that the seller bank is going to make the repairs, which they're not. So it's, you have to kind of the agents have to know what they're doing when they're selling foreclosures. So as buyers, you need to make sure when you're working with an agent that they are familiar with the foreclosure process and working with a foreclosed home and making offers on a foreclosed home, so that you are represented by somebody that's going to have your best interest at heart. And also just the multiple offer situation, how that works is the bank's going to look for the best net offer. So if you're a buyer and you're making a cash offer with no closing costs and nothing, no concessions, then you're going to be more attractive to the lender than, say, a buyer that's getting a financed offer and asking for 3% in closing and a warranty and things like that. So think of your net offer. Think of what, inspection time is something that they look for in multiple offers. If you're willing to give up your inspection period, and I'm not recommending that because I want everybody to inspect their homes, but the lower the inspection time, the better for the buyer. I mean, the better looking your offer looks as a buyer. The length of closing time, if you're doing a rehab loan, those typically take anywhere from 60 to 90 days to close, so that's not attractive to the seller. Whereas if you're a cash buyer, you can typically close in 15 days, so that always looks great. But multiple offers, everybody submits their offers, and typically the bank sellers will come back and ask everybody for their highest and best offer. So you get two whacks at an offer in a multiple offer situation. And I know that this is probably all very confusing, but anyway, so they're going to look at the best opportunity for the seller, and that's just the way that all goes. If you are the winning buyer, and you do have an inspection period on a foreclosed home, especially in the wintertime, we have all our properties winterized. So, since they are empty, they're looking for, they want to save the pipes and keep the property dry and secure, so they do winterize the homes, and that means that they drain all the water out of the pipes and fill them with antifreeze. So to get it ready for inspection, the house has to be de-winterized. That does take time. It does take money. I would say 80% of the sellers will do that for the buyer at no cost. There is 20 to 25% of the sellers that they charge the buyer to de-winterize the property. So that would all be in the contract addendum, whether they pay for it or if it's a buyer responsibility. So they get the water up and running, the utilities are on, you can go in and do your inspection, and everything's just typically like a retail property. Some of the foreclosed homes, we can't get utilities on. For whatever reason, the seller wants to sell it exactly like it sits, and let's say, for instance, it's been vacant for more than a year. In Memphis and in Shelby County, the code process is if it's been off, the utilities have been off for a year, then you have to go through code enforcement to get reconnections and meet any code requirements to get reconnections. And some of the bank sellers don't want to go through that process. So in those cases, you would either have to find an inspector that would inspect with a generator, or you would have to just kind of do a visual inspection instead of actually getting everything up and running to complete your inspection. Let me think what else. But everything else is just pretty much like a normal closing. They do recommend that you get your lender letter or your proof of funds before you make your offers, just because everything moves so fast. The contracts are all done on state contracts except for the VA. The VA and HUD have their own contracts, and the agents would have those. And then usually there's a bank addenda that ride with it, and it kind of reiterates the same terms as the state contract. And in so many words and in so many pages, it says we've never lived there and we don't know anything about the house. So it's like a double disclosure about everything to do with the property. They haven't ever lived in the house. They use the agents, us listing agents, to tell them about their house. They are usually not local owners, and they've never seen the house, so they don't have anything to really disclose about it because they don't know anything about it. But that's it. it in a short nutshell of how to buy a foreclosed home. Hopefully you've gained something from this, and have a great day.